Dropping, lights flash, spots in my path, it's a bloodbath. Super Earth's burning, we fight back. No retreat, no looking back. Parts at the ground, missions on. Hell's on the rise, but we're soldiers strong. Drop your weapons, it's time to rage. Hell divers push, we never cave. Rising, we're dropping in, keep moving fast. Chaos in the air, make it last. We fight to the end, there's no retreat. Hell divers anthem, we can't be beat. Screams in the night, parts hit the ground. Fire in the air, wars all around. We push, we fight, we rise, we take. This is Super Earth, make no mistake. Make no mistake.
Good morning, Annihilators of Alamak 7. That was Diving into Darkness by Level Up Music Lab, a song that I heard, and as the comment on the relevant page suggests, immediately went, yep, that's mine. I don't know what day I'm going to play that in, but its fate is fixed. Spot on work once again, Level Up. Reminds me greatly of a certain other musical artist who once engaged in the sonic recreation of the end of the world using similar instruments. News from the galactic sphere is largely the same as it was last night. Liberation forces are slowly, laboriously, desperately, tirelessly crawling their way towards Filibuster, whose town name is more appropriate and ironic than their founders could have ever dared dream. But the road is slow going with plentiful casualties on both sides. I do have some interesting news out of Achird, however. I had my suspicions about what was going on there, and had one of my best agents, Master Chief of the Spartan Corps, investigate the matter for me. The Illuminate did not want to let him leave with this information, and he reported that he was chased by swarms of bootless and angry Illuminate pretty much the entire time. But what I suspected was confirmed. These structures are not markers. At least, not in the traditional sense, so we don't need to worry about that other type of undead coming to town. No, these are more like long-range psionic transmitters broadcasting an SOS into deep space. It does make sense. According to Ministry of Science reports, the Maria wormhole is only set up to flow one way, so they can't retreat back through it. Their great host fleet got completely busted up, and now their cloaking tech doesn't work and the bad guys are on the run. They picked a fight with a species that is warlike to the extreme and found out the hard way that we're not locked in here with them. They are locked in here with us. In fact, I think I have a small sample of what they're trying to broadcast.
Speed back up! There's so much more!
Yeah, we probably need to go down there and turn that off. No need to involve a third party, Noctalia. Let's not spoil the moment. It's just you and me and this knife in your heart. Jokes and ominous threats aside, it does beg the question. If they're calling for help, who is out there picking up the phone? Is there another great host fleet out there wandering the inky black void between galaxies? I sure hope not. In other news, I have been in steady contact with Kaiser Z over the liberation of his world, and he reported something disturbing to me. His 2-year-old son Z, spelled Z-I, is missing. Unfortunately, survivors on Alamak are few and far between, as the impacts of the Illuminate bioweapon stroke were expertly calculated. So I have had to sonically interrogate captured overseers in the field. A bit of a risky operation that could easily go south, and I know better than to bring them back to a stronghold or to a sensitive location, so I have been conducting the interviews on my ship's brig level. They weren't overly forthcoming with the information, but with my talents, they don't need to speak. None survived the experience.
Actually, ma'am, one Illuminate did survive, though with intense brain damage.
Pandera is always right. Now, that might have seemed cruel, but when I explain to you what the Illuminate are doing, dear listeners, I think you're gonna want me to shoot that overseer again. Maybe a few more times. There's only one reason as to why the Scoots would take a prisoner instead of just corrupting them into a voteless immediately, and that is to extract information from them. Right now, the Kaiser's son is having every nightmare, every bad thought, every passing fear brought to life before his eyes. The Illuminate knew exactly who he was the moment they saw him, and while the information they could get out of a 2-year-old toddler is questionable, it's far more likely that Noctalia is just amusing himself.
That is sickening.
Make no mistake, this is not a new development. There are some who ask if we did this to the Illuminate and made them into what they are. No, this behavior was present well before they decided to embrace the Romero life. There's footage from the First Galactic War that shows off the sadism that is deeply baked into their culture. They did things to prisoners, divers. Sick things. I won't utter it on air. The point is, there's a reason why I never ventured a diplomatic solution when it came to this matter. Because I don't talk to monsters. But there is a silver lining to this. Tormented means that the poor thing hasn't been killed or turned yet, or made into the components of a flesh mob. The Illuminate have zero moral compass, and would absolutely do that if they felt there was some gain to be had from it with no hesitation. Using information extracted from overseers, I have narrowed down Z's location to a stronghold somewhere within Filibuster, which the squids are using as a forward command post. Reaching Filibuster? That's going to be a bit of a tall order, but we'll get it done. The little one is counting on us. I owe it to those that I've failed, those who I let down. While I escaped the plot of my life, Mr. Gunvald wasn't so lucky. MOT agents loyal to General Sirius gunned him down in his office, but in his final moments, he recorded an especially wordy agent confessed to everything. That I was never the one in charge, and they were going to bump me off in favor of a more patriotic minister in short order as soon as they could discredit me. If Gunvald hadn't had the good sense to record that conversation and Mercy hadn't been listening in, I think things would have gone the other way and I wouldn't be standing here now. Once more do I cheat the Reaper his due. Mr. Gunvald was a good friend of mine who gave up everything to see his world and his people prosper, fighting to do the right thing right up until the bitter end. He was strong, noble, unyielding in his principles, and willing to thrash anyone who would dispute that he was in the right. Earlier today, he was laid to rest at his summer home on the planet that he loved so. For him, the fight is over. But between his sacrifice, Mercy's internal sabotage, where he corrupted the schematics for the fist units and the full-dive neural interface the MOT had on hand, and Kaiser Z's controlled demolitions of various HQ buildings on Super Earth, the ministries have been forced on the back foot and forced to sue for peace and reconciliation. For now, it looks like Gunvald will remain independent, but if I know anything, I know this. They will try again. Evil always finds a way. In light of that, Gunvald has beefed up their cybersecurity system with a new firewall dubbed Mercy Killer, which despite the obvious threat in that name, it does sound pretty awesome. One could argue that it was Mercy's disabling of the defense grid that allowed Mr. Gunvald to be killed in his office. But if the MOT had reached a stalemate, the odds are good that they would have just opted to do the other phase of their plan first and you'd all be mourning me instead. Regardless, we played a part in Mr. Gunvald's death. We owe a debt to his people, and that debt must be paid with interest. As of right now, Gunvald is under the protection of the Angelic Rebellion. Should any seek to bring war and conflict to this world, know that me and mine will be ready to send it back to wherever the heck it came from in a pine-fluffing box. That is my bargain. I must undo the harm that I caused to this world. I only tried to help. I meant it for the best. But a certain proverbial road is paved with good intentions. We all have to do better if any of us were to be saved. I know that there are some who would just prefer I stopped. Some who regard me as extremely dangerous because I'm always sticking my nose in where they see that it doesn't belong, trying to do the right thing by my eyes, save people, and smite the wicked. Well, I'm not going to stop. That's not the kind of person that I am. I've fluffed up this time, but I'm not going to mire myself in sadness and despair. I'm going to try twice as hard because when it comes to the next person, crying out in the night for someone to help them, the next world occupied by tyranny, the next fluffer who thinks that they can do as they please in their attempt to fix people to make them get better. I'll be there to tell them that these people are not theirs to torment. That's been Liberty's Leadership with me, Pandera the Radio Angel. The goal for today is simple. Reach Filibuster, begin dismantling the transmission arrays within the megacity, and start combing the town for any trace of an illuminate prison. They don't maintain many of them, but trust me, you'll know it when you see it. For liberty, for freedom, for democracy, and for the Angelic Rebellion. Viva la Revolution Angelique!